Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
Hey, we're back. See, we're doing better.
I know.
New year, new sweeties. Sorry, new month, new sweeties.
Our New Year's resolutions start in March. I don't know what you're talking about. January, my ass.
Whatever. I'm Egyptian. I don't know calendars.
So, Sweetie, what movie did you
hey.
choose this week?
So, okay, let's take a trip back down the sweetie time machine memory lane. We're pretty sure we tried to watch this one night and we're really excited about it. And I remember sitting down in your house in Natick and we were booting it up. And then I was like, are you sure it's online streaming? And you were like, yeah, I searched for it today and I saw it. I was like, cool. So then we go to it and it appears like Mannequin. But then when you click on it and you see the print, it was Mannequin 2.
Yeah.
TOO, I think, is how they do that one.
Yeah.
Or not. I don't know. But we were like, fuck, there goes that plan. So it was tale as old as time with us. We promise you this movie, and then we're like, just kidding, you can't watch it. But 2 years
before.
later, it comes on streaming.
I couldn't
available.
believe it.
Or, yeah.
And, where did you find out about that?
Sometimes I take a little perusal on HBO's just added list, and so it was in this list of all these other serious movies.
Yeah, I don't know
And it
how
was
that
Mannequin. I
whole
was like, oh shit.
process works. Why did they decide to, or did they suddenly just get the rights? Of
Probably.
these random movies. Here's also a memory that I thought I had of this, but might be wrong. But I'm gonna tell anyway. I swear I got this from the library to watch as a DVD, and we never got around to watching it. So then I just returned it. But then the library did this thing where they're like, oh, you didn't return it. Here's a $60 fine on your library card. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So maybe it was $30 or something. So in my mind, I was like, oh my God, did I not return that? Fine, here's $30. Then the library fucking tried to pull that on me again, and I knew I returned it. And then I started to think, is this a library scam? Is this how they get money to buy their damn books? Because nice, innocent, little naive people are like me who are just like, oh. So then I actually went to the library, and the next time this happened to me, and she's like, oh, yeah, sometimes those don't get scanned, and they just get put right back in the shelves. So it looks like you didn't return it. I'm like, that's kind of a loophole.
Well, I guess they're counting on people to be like, no, I returned it.
I know.
I don't know. We're the only
But,
ones that
I
are
don't
too much
know.
work.
That
Could have happened. It does sound familiar. I don't know if it was this movie or if it was another movie similar. I mean, we've had that situation also happen, especially when you were fond of getting things from the library.
Yeah.
I feel like we triple up on flicks, and then we just we're like, oh,
So
babies.
for the record, technically I own Mannequin. It's just somewhere
we
else.
think. That'd be so funny if you just found it somewhere, but no, I think it's the faulty system. But anyways, yeah, so we watched Mannequin. Oh my God, we missed our
It's okay.
unsynchronized
They get it.
saying of the title. Yeah, so technically my pick, but mostly I was just excited to see it streaming.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any firm memories from this movie, but I do remember a sense of understanding that mannequins came to life when you weren't looking.
Right.
I was young enough to believe that that is how the world worked.
Right.
So that's interesting.
I don't blame you. They're very lifelike. So
oh my God, I know.
I feel like I say this a lot, but this is definitely a early 90s movies for me. Weekends at home, just watching the boob tube. What random movie comes on UPN? All these random 80s movies would be playing on the locally kind of stations. So I would never see the whole thing. I'd just see like a bit here, a bit there, and I'd be like, "Whoa, this movie's like kooky and fun." And like at this point, it was only like, you know, a stone's throw away from when this came out in 87. So it was probably like early 90s, 92 or something. I was probably like, you know, 10 years old, 9 years old. And I was just like, wow, this movie's like wacky and fun. And look at this. And the only part I remember, though, from watching this today, the only part I really remember and could tell you like anything about prior to watching this was the very traumatic end scene where she almost gets chopped to bits in the trash compactor. So that's like what I took away from it. Clearly, traumatic scene. Like, I don't blame myself. But fantastic romp, I'll say. 80s romp definition of.
Does it make sense? No.
No.
But does this movie have heart? Yes.
It was adorable.
It was fine. It was just like me as like a mostly sensible and like logical person was just had a very hard time digesting a lot of the things that were happening, which we'll get into. But like the writing is like not the like the lines so much, but like the story, I guess we'll say. The story leaves something to be desired. There's a lot of like weird, not even magic wand waving, but just like nonsense waving. Like they're just like, this is a nonsense thing, but no one cares. No one will notice. Why is there a white girl in Egypt? I don't know. Like, it's just like this strange. Why is she Egyptian?
I don't
like
know.
I don't get it.
And I do not remember that whole part at all. I was like, wait a minute.
Neither. I
that's
was
how
like,
she gets to be a mannequin, and I still don't remember her whole. And
it
really
still
get her
doesn't really
whole
make sense.
Trajectory through the ages or whatever was going on there. But I will say, is this a woman empowerment movie?
No.
Slightly confused, but they're trying to make it like that. Because the Emmy character is all like, I don't want to get married to like this dumb guy in Egypt. Like, I'm smart. I'm a designer. I want to see the world. I want to do this. And she's like, you know, very like independent woman. But then she gets made into a mannequin, which is the most like objectifying like thing you could get. So it's like just seems a little confused. I'll say it's a confused.
No,
movie.
I think. I mean, it's if anything, it's a front for like a woman positive thing. There's so much casual harassment and assault in this. It's very upsetting. I mean, not like very upsetting. I mean, it should be, but like it's they portray it in like a very like comical way, which obviously it's not funny, but like just the tone. They obviously like this was funny back then, allegedly. But definitely a lot of like gratuitous nonsense, like, and nudity. Like, I don't care if she's a mannequin. Like, why are we making her take her clothes off immediately? And like, how does she know what anything is? I think that was the most confusing thing to me. And like, I didn't really understand the through the ages thing. I mean, we'll talk about this. I had to go back and like read the synopsis because I wasn't sure if I missed it or they just like weren't explaining it well. But I got like a bigger picture of it, and it still doesn't make sense. So we'll talk about it. But anyways, cute movie. Kim Cattrall, such a babe. Obviously, this was like her peak, babylicious. Like she was in her prime even in Sex and the City. So this was when she was like, you know, younger than that.
So she was 30 years old. You know, before that, I think she's in Police Academy. She's in Porky's.
Our favorite.
So she said she was always just like the girl, you know, in Pretty Girl and like all these movies. And this was the first one that she really felt like the leading lady. I mean, she was the star of it. She's 30. Andrew McCarthy, other star of this, is 24. So she was also like older woman in this, which was pretty cool. And yeah, she like the most beautiful like woman ever. Like she said like, oh, how does one act like a mannequin? Well, I just did like a lot of bodybuilding to make my body look as like whatever, like pristine as a mannequin would be. But that bitch had the same body, however, 20 years later in fucking Sex and the City that she did in this movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
that sucks.
Is like, wow. I mean,
me.
Clearly like amazing genes and all that, and obviously works her ass off. But oh my God, she's the most like beautiful woman.
But adorable, perfectly cast, obviously, as this like very flirtatious, immediately sexualized mannequin Okay, so I think like what I'm most upset about, not that I'm upset about anything, but I think like the thing that really tripped me up and that shook me more than the Egyptian thing was that she's not really a mannequin. Like, I thought like she started as a mannequin. I thought she was like made a mannequin, you know, but she was like zapped into a mannequin from like the Egyptian gods. So like I feel like the whole thing's a farce. But anyways, very believable as somebody who maybe used to be Egyptian and then got zapped into a mannequin and now becomes a person occasionally.
And it was confusing because she is this like, this high. I think she spoke higher than she usually does. Her voice was like this, and she's all this, but she's saying like really smart things, and she's obviously helping him with this design stuff. But they're dumbing her down to be this like.
Yeah, I bet that was a direction or something. It's so annoying. But she does a great job. She, great outfits as you would expect from a mannequin. Andrew McCarthy, obviously such a doll as always.
I know he's the most like awkward, cute little leading man in every role he is. I know his like weird crooked little teeth and.
Yeah, he's kind of like an American Hugh Grant or something.
Yeah,
like he's like kind of bumbly and like not as charming. He comes off more like not smarmy, but like I just always think of him as his Weekend at Bernie's character, where like he's always up to something.
Right,
and, like I just always feel like he has that on his face.
Yeah,
but I think he's adorable. I love him.
You know what he reminds me of? Like the kid in kindergarten that you would have a crush on or something, who's kind of like
who's just like nice
naughty.
and clean, and
no,
you're
nice
like
and clean, but like a little bit
doesn't
just
smell.
like naughty or something. Like he just is like kind of a goofball, but everyone thinks he's cool. You know, everyone like still thinks he's really
like,
cool.
Still does his homework and is like not the bad boy necessarily. Yeah.
It's like fun.
Basically,
That's
his character in Pretty in Pink or something.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, he's cute. And then we have James Spader, who I looked up to see. I was like, has James Spader written a memoir yet? He has not. I would love to read his because I'm really interested to know how he dealt with like his trajectory, which I feel like is very interesting and strong. Like he went from being this like this character kind of actor, always a character who was like a stuck up like little prince who has to like take control of
Do
things.
I have to say it? Classic little pisher.
Yes.
So
little pisher.
From Baby Boom, he is this little like upstart working at the ad agency with the Diane Keaton character, and he's just like trying to move up, and then his name's Fritz, and he's just such like a little brown noser.
Awful.
And he ends up kind of taking her job, and there's this line that's like, I forgot how she says it, but she's just like,
you listen, you little pisher.
Yeah, you listen, you little pisher, which is like a Yiddish phrase. And that's his role in like literally like all these 80 movies.
Every
It's
movie
so
in
fun.
the 80s and 90s. And then he gets on, he kind of disappears maybe for a little while. And then he shows up on the blacklist as this like cool but like weird. I don't know like what his deal was. He good? Was he bad? I don't know. And then he turns it around to be like this cult sensation who just like pops up in like Lincoln and like these movies, and people are like, James Spader is the greatest, and it's like, whoa, what an arc. Like I don't know. I would love to read his stuff, but yeah, he's in this. He's a bad guy as usual. Also,
Estelle Getty of Golden Girls fame is the sweet little lady who owns the department store.
Who is she in Golden Girls?
The mom of B. Arthur, who's like Dorothy, and
oh my
the mom.
God.
The mom who lives
Right,
with them.
because she was like acting a lot older than she was.
She
in that
was
show,
the
so
youngest
that's why
of the
it was
Golden Girls.
confusing.
Yes,
right.
What is her name in that? Why am I blanking? What's
I
the
don't
mom's
know.
name?
Esther. I know. I really need to go back and watch the Golden Girls. But I thought her voice sounded so familiar, and I like couldn't place it. I just kept being like, "Is she Dot Matrix?" And I was like, "No, that's Joan Rivers." And I was like so confused about it. But anyways, yeah, she's great. Love her. Love that character so much.
So cute.
I guess that's woman empowerment. Her role.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think this movie was confused. It was trying to add these elements of it, of being like, yeah, like women are great. Women are more than that. And they had these like great jobs. Even that girlfriend there, Roxy, was like, but obviously she was getting sexually harassed like
Total
everywhere
trash
she
bag
looked.
also, though.
Yeah, and she was a terrible person, but still like had like a high up job like in this company. So anyway, so that actress is Carol Davis. I can't read my notes, but she was Amalia Amalfi in Sex in the City. If you know
Carrie, you bitch, come over here. Yeah, I love her. I like as soon as I saw her, I was like, I know that face,
I know.
and I just kept saying, "You bitch." Yeah, that was very interesting character, Roxy.
Yeah. So like the girlfriend of what's the guy's name?
I don't even know. I should
forget.
have written everything down. I'm like, I immediately forgot everyone's name except the mannequin whose name is Emmy.
Emmy,
So cute.
I know. His last name is kind of funny, like
Striker or something.
Swatter. So this is and also directed by a guy named Michael Gottlieb, who directed none other than Mr. Nanny. Do you remember that one with Hulk Hogan as like a babysitter?
Oh, I think I always confused that with Mr. Mom. I didn't realize.
Mr. Nanny.
Just like.
And A Kid in King Arthur's Court, which is like a play on the
I never saw that.
Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court with the Rookie of the Year guy. So
Jonathan. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Jonathan Switcher.
Switcher. Yeah, it's like really weird. So yes, just like we said, just classic 80s romp, like really inappropriate in a lot of ways. Simple, but like super weird ass plot. 80s fashion right and left, like crazy synthesizer soundtracks, like just very 80s. We thought Desperately Seeking Susan was like 80s time capsule. This is very much 80s time capsule, which we all know and love. This movie, be surprised to know, got an Oscar nomination.
What?
For Best Song. For the ending song we just talked about privately, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. I love that jam. And we can build this dream together. Standing strong forever. We can never like sing in sync when we're recording away from each other because I think the timing's off. But yeah, love that jam. So by the band Starship, which if you don't know, Jefferson Airplane from like the 60s band, then morphed into Jefferson Starship in the 70s and early 80s. Do you see what they did there? They went like Jefferson Airplane and then turned it like futuristic to Starship. Pretty cool.
Interesting.
And then like the bandmates were like in and out of the band or whatever. Some guy like sued, ended up being that no one could make a band with either the word Jefferson or airplane in it or something. So
rude.
Yeah, so crazy. So then finally the band ended up being just Starship, and they made this song Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, nominated for an Oscar so it would have been the 88 Oscars. And sadly it was up against I've Had the Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing, and it lost to that, which I'm not sad about because they're both like really genuinely great songs.
Oh my god, no, classic.
I know.
I mean, that's a classic scene, classic.
Oh yeah,
everything.
What a year, right?
It deserves it.
Yeah.
I don't think the world would rest quite the same if Mannequin beat out Dirty Dancing for best song.
I know.
I think there would have been an apocalypse
Still.
by now. But
good song.
Yeah. So I guess we can get into this wacky plot.
Okay. It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah,
sweeties. You got nothing?
Oh my god, I do. I was like, why isn't she starting the synopsis?
Okay.
Oh my
god, guys. We're out of it for a little while. Okay. We fuck everything up.
Okay. Look at him with a dummy. Who are you to criticize? You remember that part? So
yeah,
one of the like hilarious parts is he takes Emmy out of the store and he's like, we need to get you out of the store. Let's go on like a hot date. And so he puts her on the back of the motorcycle. Now, we will come to tell you that no one can see Emmy as a real person except him, so it's just a mannequin riding behind him on the motorcycle. And so they're at a stoplight, and this old lady's like, "Look at him with a dummy." You know how they call mannequins dummies? And her husband goes, "Who are you to talk?"
See, that makes me think the men wrote this.
Yeah,
but or maybe like some women were on the team at the beginning and that's why there are those things. And then the guys were like, you're fired. There's too much women stuff in this. And then they kicked him out and then they're like, let's fix this. Yep. And they added all that weird shit back in. I don't know. Just a theory. So, okay, back to the synopsis. Egypt, 1531 AD. Who knows? Emmy.
Wait, BC. Isn't
Oh,
Egypt BC?
I thought she said AD.
I think it's BC, isn't it?
Wasn't Cleopatra after Jesus Croesus? Pretty sure.
God, where's my ancient
This
history
is
when
too
you
much.
need it?
You're the history major. I don't know what you want from me. Anyways, Egypt, she's upset. She has to marry some like cow farmer or something. And so she hides as a mummy in a pyramid, and her mom's like, why can't you just marry your husband? So
I just want you
weird.
to picture the pyramid too is basically like the set of Legends of the Hidden Temple.
It's so weird, and like they've completely whitewashed everything about Egypt and being Egyptian, basically. So the point where they're making these assumptions that like these tropes we have in our culture are carrying over to ancient Egypt. And I'm like, are you nuts? What is this? And it's really offensive. And it's like, if you want a Hollywood example of whitewashing, this is it. This would be the scene that I would like show in a class about whitewashing on film. So anyways, so she's like, I just wish the gods would send me to the future to the love of my life. And then she like poof disappears. And you're like, whoa, interesting. Okay. I can see what's going to happen now. Or do you? So
You never would have guessed where she ended up.
Cut to, and this is surprising to me too, Philadelphia? I thought it was New York.
No.
Very confusing.
Pennsylvania.
There's nothing like, I don't understand why it's Philadelphia, basically. Maybe only because that gave them free reign to make up department store names or something.
Well, I guess
don't know.
that's where that department store really is that they used for the actual
I
department
was so
store.
confused.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this department store in a church? So, okay. Anyway, so modern day in the 80s, we meet Jonathan Switcher, who is a down on his luck true artist who can't catch a break. So he's like not making it as an artist, so he has to take a bunch of like Joe jobs. And unfortunately, he's like too artistic in all of them, and so he keeps getting fired. Like starts at the Mannequin workshop, and he's doing this incredible work of what becomes this, Kim Cattrall Emmy Mannequin. And he's put like all this love and care into it, and he's like, "Hey, boss, isn't this great?" And he's like, "Dude, you need to be making like times 100 of these." He's like fucking like Will Ferrell in the Etch-a-Sketch workshop. Like he's only made like 5 and he's supposed to make 1,000. Like,
Is that how you
sorry,
make
buddy.
mannequins? He's like,
I
I'm
don't
a
think so.
sculptor and I'm making a mannequin.
No,
Is that how you
these
make a
are like
mannequin?
stock mannequins, like
Yes.
cut out of machines. I would
Yeah.
think.
I
Like,
mean, he picks out her arms from like a collection of
I know.
arms.
Like there's
so
all these different arms. So I'll get the Popeye. Like it didn't make
maybe
any
it's
sense
just
again.
the face that he like sculpts. I don't know.
I don't know. It's
Where's
just-
the Mr.
I mean,
Rogers episode on how to make a mannequin? That's
ugh,
what I want.
No, I mean it's too creepy. Like I'm sure that my like dissatisfaction or like my distrust of puppets and mannequins probably comes from this movie.
Probably.
You never know what they're up to at night, So anyways, he gets fired and so then he has to get a bunch of other jobs, and then he gets fired from those jobs. So he becomes like a balloon animal person, a hedge worker, a pizza maker, and he's like trying to make the pizza look like absolutely immaculate, and they're like, "You're too slow, you're fired." So he's having bad luck. His girlfriend Roxy is mad that he like can't keep a job and just like ditches him one night. So he's on his own, he's alone, he's sad, he's upset. Takes a walk in the rain, sees his mannequin, the love of his life, who's like, I love that mannequin. He wanted to like take it with him. He loved it so much. He thought it was his best work, which it was. It was a very beautiful mannequin. It looks exactly like Kim Cattrall. It's spooky. If anything, they should have won an award for that. Like
I
that. I thought that was like a really nice detail.
Apparently, they had like 6 mannequins. She had to pose for it, and they actually did make it in her
Oh.
exact likeness. Where are those mannequins now? I hope Kim Cattrall got one.
hope
Would
she
that be
has all of
cool or creepy?
It would be creepy, but it would be totally Kim Cattrall. And like she would just have like all 6
All
of them
over
like
the
in her
house.
living room and like different outfits she's worn that are like really iconic. I
Yeah.
love that for her. But anyways, yeah, he sees the mannequin and he's like, "Oh, I'll be back to see you tomorrow." So cut to the next day. He goes to this department store, which is called, what is it called? Phillips and Kingfisher or something. I don't know. It's like some old what is that called? Rockefeller type people.
Yeah, like old, or like, a lot of old Jewish, a lot of Jewish families own these department stores or that kept in the family and stuff like that.
Are you thinking of Menckens?
I'm thinking of Mannequins from Mad Men. They're all like a family business, and this particular one was owned by generations of family,
Yes.
and now owned
And
by
is
this
in-
sweet old woman.
right. And it's like in this church or something. There's like this giant organ.
Yeah, what's that about?
Or maybe that's part of they used to do that in department stores. I don't know. But anyways, so there's this fiasco outside. They're hanging up this new giant sign. And this old woman comes up and starts talking to Jonathan, and they strike up this like cute conversation. And then this sign almost like kills her. It falls off the thing. He grabs onto it and is like, I thought this was pretty funny. I was like kind of peeing my pants a little bit of like him on the swing on the sign. It's this giant sign. He's just like barely holding onto it, so you can tell it's like so fake. And he's like, whoa, and he's like 1,000 feet in the air on this sign. He's not even. He's like he's scared, but like not that much. Anyways, it ends with him getting shocked by a live wire. Somehow he makes it. And anyways, while he's stuck to this sign, the old lady's like, what can I help you with? And she's like, I could use a job. And so that's how he gets a job at this department store.
When did you start?
He starts as a stock boy.
As soon as I get down.
Yeah. Right after this. So he starts as a stock boy. And then eventually like finds his way to his mannequin in the window display. And he's like, oh, good. Like, you're still here. And then I think that first time he finds her, which is at night, she comes alive, right?
Yep.
And he's like freaked out. He's like, whoa, what the fuck? So, okay, here's the story. I think this is what the Egyptian gods decided to send her through the ages to be the muse of different like artists. And so she talks about like all these things and like forming these attachments to guys who just leave or something in the end. But that doesn't make sense with her beginning statement of like, send me to the future into my love. So you tell me that like all those artists were her love, or that like this was the god's tricky way to be like, hey, you get what you want, like, I don't know, are they tricksters? So it doesn't make sense, but allegedly that's the story, right?
Because
so he's an artist.
Her
he made
old boyfriend Chris. I told him that the world was round, and then I never saw him again. So Chris,
he wasn't
Columbus.
an artist.
I was surprised how easily. Wait, Jonathan is his name?
Yeah.
Made that jump when she was like, oh, my boyfriend Chris. And he's like, Chris Columbus?
I know, like, he's not the only Chris. And like, you don't call him Chris. You call him Chris. He's not the director, Chris Columbus. He's Christopher Columbus.
I guess
so
because she
like,
mentioned, like, Earth was round or whatever. That, like, obviously was the hint. But,
or like he was a sailor or something.
Oh, totally. And then he mentions, like, Michelangelo. And, he was obsessed with this guy, like David. So the sculptor or whatever like that. So yeah, that's a really good theory. I just thought she was being plunked in different time periods just to like test, like just to live and test it out and go on this like adventure to see like which time period she belonged. Now,
but like as a mannequin in every time period?
No, she wasn't a mannequin every time period. No,
but was she?
So. I don't know, unclear, but I think
so.
She
yeah,
was,
that's my
she
question.
Was just a
like,
mannequin in this one.
I think she becomes the art of whatever the artist is like.
But what
doing.
is the Chris
and
Columbus art though?
I don't know, but like so. And the only reason this one made sense maybe is because she could come alive as a person because a mannequin. Whereas, like, if she was a painting or something, she couldn't come alive if she was a painting. I don't know, but like,
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. It's all nonsense.
Anyway,
just have her
that
start
she
as a
lives,
mannequin.
Like, the entire
Don't explain
history
it.
of man, and then the real winter decade is going to be the 80s is hilarious. I mean,
Nice try. So yeah, my question was like, how does she know anything? But I guess you explained it. Like, if she's experienced all these time periods and decades, good for her. So then he kind of like passes out, and she helps him by making the best window display of all time, which is like this cute tennis scene, and she's wearing this like adorable like cute tennis dress, and I think the most genius part is like the audience members are all just like tennis rackets turned upside down, so they're just like the outline of heads, and it's so cool. And there's
the
like
balls
a tennis ball
levitate,
going back
like,
and forth. Oh, I thought it was like on a fishing wire or something, and it was like I don't know, but it looked like floating. And so the crowds have come to this window to like in awe. They're like awestruck by this window display. And this department store had been having problems. Losing customers, needed a way to get people excited.
There's like competing department store,
just like there always is.
Or Luster or something is the other one.
It's
where his
called
girlfriend works.
It's called Illustra,
Illustra,
and it sounds like a drug that is like advertised on TV. Is like Illustra. Illustra's not for intended use of blah 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 blah. It might cause this. That's what
I thought it sounded like a character from the show Gem. Just saying.
Ooh, I love Gem. Yeah, like maybe like a villain.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that, definitely. But yeah, so now people are starting to recognize or to notice this store, and so now things are getting interesting. So behind the scenes, the James Spader character is like cooking up some shenanigan where he's trying to get this little old woman to like sell her store to the Illustra people. So he's like working for Illustra. Devious. So his like whole thing in this movie is like, I was trying to like think of a name for it. It was like, it's like hotty totty, like, oh, you can't be serious, like, but like not British, but like just like so stuck up and weird. I was like trying to imitate it and I couldn't quite
like
get it, but
like
I'll get
preppy,
there.
oily, preppy,
but
80s
like
guy.
really nasally
He
or
looks
something.
severely unwell. Like his skin is yellow. He has these glasses. He has this comb over like gelled haircut. He's always wearing suits when everyone else is in like kind of fun outfits. Yeah, he is nasty in this.
He's the worst. But anyways, his plan is now backfiring because now the department store is getting all this like recognition and credit. So the little old woman who owns the store, who I forget, Claire, decides to promote Jonathan to assistant window dresser or something, whatever. So there he meets his new buddy Hollywood Montrose, who's the head window dresser, which seems like such a fun job. I hope it is. I feel like Jill, from Worcester, Liz's friend Julie was a window or like some form of that. But I don't know what happens at this point. He meets Hollywood and
he's just on his side. Yeah, and just Hollywood's kind of crazy. He drives this big pink Cadillac. He has these really awesome sunglasses. I guess they're regular glasses.
He's always wearing the sunglasses.
Yeah, half. They're all glitter. One's one color, one's another. They're like almost cat eye. Just like and like flamboyant gay guys always talking about his like boyfriends and stuff like that. So they kind of have like a little partnership. And but Jonathan's like, I work alone though, because like I can only work at night, and Hollywood does end up figuring out that he has like this muse is this mannequin, and because he hears him talking to her all the time, and he just thinks it's like cute and kind of like a freaky, like, what do you call it?
Like kink or something.
Kink. So, and he's like, whatever, he's all about that. He has his own like kinky shit. So he's like, awesome, like however you want to like do it is whatever you want to do. And then but then he keeps making these really awesome window displays at night, and then also like boning the mannequin. Or do they not bone till that very like date part?
Maybe
because she's kind of coy.
I guess we should go back and explain the rules.
Yeah.
So she apparently is only real when Jonathan is the only one around. So if like any other human walks into the room, she has to freeze like a mannequin in like whatever position she is. So that's like the first suspicious thing. As like an outsider, I would be like, how did you get that mannequin in that position? Like I've never seen a mannequin bend like that. I just like that would be my question right off the bat, right? Because she's always in like a lot of like interesting
poses.
I'm caught positions. So like that's just a thing. So that's the rule there. And then is there anything else? And she only comes alive, it seems like, at night. But I think that's only because that's when he's the only one around, right? Like I don't think that is like built into the rules.
Right.
When does he sleep? He's like up all night doing these window displays. Does he not have to work during the day, I guess? I don't know.
Because he's only doing it at night.
But you never see him like go home and sleep. Like he's always like at the store like, is it my window display great? I don't know. Anyway, so things progress. James Spader, whose name is Richards, his plan fails. He tries to get the board to like overthrow and like sell. They delay it because the window display is doing so well. She promotes Jonathan again now to like vice president of Windows displays or something.
I think vice president of the whole company.
Of the whole company?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
why they're
and
like
at this
the
point,
youngest.
everyone knows he has this like obsession with this mannequin because this is when it gets a little creepy. Like during the work day, he is there during the day. He's like walking around with the mannequin and like going into storerooms with her to have this like private time.
And
he like
women's
takes her
bathrooms.
into the bathroom and then he's like talking. They can hear them like kissing and stuff. And they all are like, ha ha ha, that's so funny because he's the new VP now and he is making the store popular and making everyone a lot of money. So like they don't care what he does.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, that's that's.
It
if that
got
doesn't
like
say-
pretty
scream
creepy. I
The
will
Me Too
say.
movement. I don't know what does.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird, and everyone's just like cool with it. It's
It
very,
felt
and
almost
I don't know
like
if they,
necrophilia-ish to me. I don't know. I know she's not dead, but like because she was so stiff and like making out with a mannequin. I don't know. It was
well, I mean,
weird.
it's just like it's like a doll, like
Yeah.
Lars and
Yeah,
the real
like-
girl. But like,
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but
that's what I'm thinking of.
my confusion was like, it seems like they can hear her Emmy talking,
I
and
know.
they think that he's like a ventriloquist
Right.
or like throwing his voice or something, which is like sure maybe, but. I don't know. I'd be suspicious. I'd be like, no, she's a magical mannequin. Like, this is-
I'd think that right away.
yeah, like, I would know. I would know what's up. So Claire has had it with Richards basically after he breaks into, or is he fired already at that point? There's
No.
like there's this other side plot of this like terrible night guard Felix who's like hates Jonathan. It's kind of a dumb.
So
I hated that
stupid.
whole
I hated it.
part
I hate
of
that
it.
actor. He's like
Um,
from Police Academy. He's like the mean,
Oh yeah,
mean like officer in Police
Mean,
Academy. Like
that's right.
his whole thing was annoying. The thing with the dog was annoying. Like
Yeah.
ugh.
I just like I don't care much about it. All you need to know is that they know that Jonathan's up to something and they want to like get to the bottom of it. So eventually Claire fires Richards and this security guard Felix for like being dummies and talk about dummies, and then they're like go back over to Illustra and come up with a new plan. And they're basically trying to like blackmail Jonathan by like getting a picture of him with like who they think is a woman, but it's actually a mannequin. They're like, oh my God, he's sleeping with a mannequin. So they're like, now we know what to do. We'll steal the mannequin and then lure him over to like Illustra. So like that's their big plan. They break in. They don't know which one it is. They're like, is it this one with the brown hair? I'm like, guys, it's not her. So they end up just like stealing all the women mannequins. And then Jonathan wakes up. He had an amazing sexual romp fest with Emmy in this like giant fur. What do you call those chairs? You used to have one of those in your room. That
No,
like,
those were all the
bucket
fur
chairs.
coats.
Oh, I know, but what were they laying on?
A hammock. Wasn't it a hammock originally?
Oh, I thought it was like one of those like bowl chairs, whatever those are called.
Oh,
with you,
I
like,
did. Oh, Pompazon. I had one of those. Yeah.
yeah, those are
I
so.
loved my
uncomfortable.
Pompazon. It was good in theory, but terribly uncomfortable. You'd always
Yeah,
fall
it's
out of
just-
it.
What,
The
you wanna
bucket would like
scrunch your
slide
body up
off
in a
the
ball.
thing. I know. It was not. I don't know why. I thought that was the coolest thing. But it
They
was
look
terrible.
cool,
They
but
do look
like
cool.
I mean, maybe for kids if you don't have a lot of like body mass.
Yeah,
it's
if
good,
you're 4
but-
feet tall, awesome. But
great. Anyway, so he wakes up in a daze and in
sex
forgot to set an alarm or something, and wakes up in the middle of the department store naked under all these fur coats.
he should be.
And
fired.
everybody's like clapping
Yeah.
for him. But I don't know why, because like all the female mannequins were gone, so
I
like the
know.
window displays didn't look good.
I know.
But anyway, so he's like, "What happened?" And they're like, "They took all the female mannequins, including your girl, Illustra." So he like runs after them. There's this chase sequence. It's stupid. Meanwhile, Roxy has been this like weird, stewing, like jealous, kind of angry woman because he's not like falling to her plan of like getting him to join Illustra. And so she's like, "What's your problem?" And he's like, "I met a beautiful woman." And she's like super jealous about that. Finds out it's a mannequin and then is like terrified. So in her like anger, jealousy, and fear, takes the mannequin Emmy and throws her and all the female mannequins in the trash compactor / shredder, which is this like terrifying contraption. I hope it doesn't exist. It's like a commercial shredder. It's just like it's these two like spinning turbines that have like teeth on them, and it just like rips whatever goes down there like apart in like a second. It was just like so scary. And so all the mannequins are going down like the chute, and Jonathan like sees it and like runs up there. There's a guy in there who just like watches him run up this conveyor belt and struggling, almost could be falling into this shredder himself. And the guy is still like, huh? What is this? This is weird. And then, by some miracle of the Egyptian gods, Emmy comes to life, and she's able to, like, hold on to his arm, and then he pulls her up. Her feet are, like, dangling just, like, inches away from the shredder. It's so dramatic and traumatic, really. I can see why you would remember that.
Left an impression on me, yeah.
Anything. But definitely, like, there was this fascination in the 80s with getting, like, like caught up in a shredder and, like, a cement roller. Like, what was that? Like, very Indiana Jones, it felt. And so she's alive, and she hasn't turned back into a mannequin. By the way, once the trash compactor guy has seen that there's actually a live woman dangling from his hands, he has now turned it off, thank God. Realizes it's a woman, realizes the mannequin turned into a woman. So this guy's like, oh, I gotta get a me mannequin too. Is like going through all the like trash mannequins, finds poor Roxy, who had been like knocked unconscious by mannequin debris.
What is like simpleton?
Kiss
you just
me.
think it was raining women? Like what?
Yeah, total simpleton. Talk about
God.
definition, dictionary definition. So apparently the curse is broken. And now, again, they don't explain this. It's not like the gods were like, only true love will break the spell. Like, they were obviously in love immediately, so it can't be that. Is it because he saved her life? So, like, she's worth living? I don't know. It didn't make any sense. Whatever, we don't need to know. She's real now, and everyone's
and they're
like,
gonna
oh,
get
she
married.
Was. Yeah, and everyone was like, she was real, great. And then they get married, and all is well.
I love the touch of,
and they get married in the window display, which is really funny.
So they're in the window display, and they're all like frozen, and you're like kind of like, oh, is that a window display? Like, cool. And then they move, and it's the wedding ceremony, and she, you know, has that really unfortunate veil situation that they did in the 80s, which was like a yarmulke with like a veil.
I'm pretty sure that was the same dress Kelly Kapowski wears in the wedding in the window display when they're pretending to be mannequins and Saved by the Bell.
The bonnet veil.
Not a good
no
look.
offense, Mom, because she kind of had one.
She did
and
have
it
a
did
bonnet.
look cute, and that was also.
Mom's was cute. It was like a headband.
Yeah,
it was more of like a headband.
Yeah, hers was cute. This one was like a legit like lace yarmulke. And she's not Jewish, but not that you would wear yarmulke as a woman anyway. But anyway, and then that song, the Starship song plays, and then like Hollywood's doing the officiating, and like it was sweet. It was sweet.
It was cute. Yeah.
Did they make it?
Did they make it? I hope they make it. Who knows? Maybe we'll. I need to watch the second one to see like what's the deal with that. Is it Jonathan still?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, in like my mind, she was a catch. He kind of was a loser, and that's what I don't love about it.
And she was doing all the work and like had all the good ideas.
Yeah,
and he was like, and it didn't make sense because they show him as being this like artist who's creative. So you're like, I know he can do this, but he's like, no, only she can do it, but is also taking all the credit. It was very weird.
Yeah.
My question was, how are they constructing these window displays? Like, one of them, did you see the one that had like an ambulance or like a bus like outside of the store made out of like cardboard? What? And then like the one with all the mannequins cycling?
Mm-hmm.
What?
You gotta suspend reality. It's just like,
I can't. Like, that was too much. Like, in the
movies.
span of one night, they put that shit together, and that girl's a mannequin for real? Like,
I don't know. She must have had like some magic to her, obviously.
Well, she was like an inventor
situation.
herself. Apparently she you know, oh my God. Okay. And so the weirdest part for me, maybe you agree, is when at one point he's like, yes, at one point he's like, Emmy, like calling her in this giant department store, and she's like, up here. And she like paraglides through the department store, or like hang glides, and it appears as if there is a roaring breeze just like coming through the department store, and I'm like, where is this breeze coming from? It's so weird. I just they build up this backstory that she was like this inventor. She was like the Da Vinci of the Egyptians, of like a woman, and she like made wings and flew and like tried to fly once. And so
one of the lines
that's why they have that
in the very beginning is like, I want to fly, and more like metaphorically, like I want to like spread my wings,
right?
You know? And then when she's done hang gliding or whatever, she's like, I flew. Did you see me? I flew. And she just happened to have because she's a mannequin, she goes through like a million costume changes, and some are like legit costumes. And in this particular one, they were like riding bikes around the department store, and she had like an aviator Amelia Earhart
I was
pink
very confused about
hat
this.
with like the goggles and everything on. And then she finds this hang gliding contraption, and then it's like, oh my god, perfect outfit! Like there you go. One of my favorite scenes was when they first meet each other. There's this epic montage of like them just having fun in the department store, wearing all these different clothes and doing like all these different scenes.
Who doesn't love a montage?
Oh my god, I love montages. It was so much fun. Here's like a couple ones they did. I called it the getting crazy montage because she's like, let's have some fun tonight. So they have all these little scenes. So the punk rocker one where she's in like lace tights and this cool purple wig and eyeshadow, and he has like an electric guitar and like a leather jacket. There was this rich people scene where she has like a fur coat on and lingerie, and he has like Hugh Hefner robe, and he's smoking a pipe, and they're getting all sassy. The tropical scene, Phantom of the Opera scene, that one was super weird, where he's like playing the organ and she's like doing ballet like in this purple dress.
Oh my, no, I love that dress. I think that was my favorite look.
Yeah.
That was really great. Yeah, there's
and
some,
then 20s gangsters, he has like a Tommy gun and he's like on the stairs.
Why does
and
she
she's
know
like
these
a
references?
flapper. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know either, but it was just
weird. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was just really fun. And they obviously have like I guess because they're making up the windows, they made up a window of a boat, like a cruise ship, and they're sun tanning. And she's like, put sunblock on me. And he's like rubbing sunblock on her. And that's like when they're like hooking up and people catch them in the act. So like that. So it's, I guess, them all just doing all the different window dressing. But it was like just the amount of costumes and like fun dress up that they got to do was really, really fun.
Super fun. So I just pulled up the Mannequin 2 on the move. So I think now that I'm looking at this and they're playing like the trailer if you click on it, I think this is the movie I saw and that I maybe never saw the original Mannequin. I must have only seen this one because I'm having like some vivid flashbacks here, and it's like Christy Swanson, which like obviously, we were a big fan of her, so that checks out. So we might have to watch Mannequin 2 on the move.
I read the plot to that one, and I was kind of upset that it was basically the same thing, where it's like someone from like olden times comes back into the mannequin.
Except
I would prefer a
she has
continuation
a necklace.
of like the story. I guess that wouldn't make sense though. Oh, she has a necklace. Okay.
You take off the necklace, she turns into a man.
Oh, okay. Well, they couldn't do a continuation of this story because she was no longer a mannequin, and obviously, I'm sure that
she broke the spell.
The stars wouldn't want to come back either. But like, I don't know if it's interesting enough that we need to see like another old timey person like coming back to be.
Maybe we'll get more about the mythology of how this is possible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch this with or without you. So just, let me know. The other thing I wanted to talk about was department stores. Really brought me back to, the department store lifestyle. So we had two.
So fun.
Growing up, Filene's and Macy's in the Cape Cod Mall. Basically, they're the same store, I would come to find out. I remember, let's see, escalators, I guess, and then just like the smell of them. Like you could, if you said like, Filene's to me, I would be like, like that's the stuff, like, right? Like, can't you just like smell it? Like, and I just love how like, and it's really, they're not lying about the name. It is a department store. There's all these departments. And I'm here to tell you guys, we have a celebrity in our midst. Sweetie here has worked at a department store.
Thank you.
She worked at the bath department at Macy's. So you could tell us a little bit about that experience. But my experience is that all of the departments have like their own little like register, right? And like a lot of times nobody's at those registers. So they're like, are they fake? You know what I mean? Like they're always empty. And I'm like, what is this? And like the clothing one is ridiculous. There's like a register every like 5 seconds. Right. It's like a Dunkin' Donuts like right next to each other on the block. I'm like, do we need all of these? But I do like how the fitting rooms are like empty of people and you can just like go in there. You don't have to like talk to somebody and be like, I have 3 items. They don't, like it's very basic. That's I think my favorite part still about department stores.
Yeah, I miss department stores. I feel like that they used to be not necessarily like fancy. I mean, some are more fancy than others, right? If you have like a Lord and Taylor was a step up, or like a Nordstrom, whatever. Keep going up, Barney's, whatever. But we had sort of definitely like the lower end ones, but they were always still so nice growing up, right? Like everything was nicely folded. Seemed like, it was, now department stores are trash. I don't know if you've been in one recently.
Yeah, I've been in one recently.
Fucking mess. Nobody works there. Like nothing is taken care of. Like shit is just strewn everywhere. Department stores on their way out. I mean, it's just like not something that is.
No, it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable anymore. And there's just so many other places to shop. And it's sort of like fuddy-duddy, like futsy, like it's kind of for old people. But I do have such memories, like you said, of going with mom, going to the makeup counter. Here's a memory, right? Do you remember Clinique?
Oh my God, yes,
the thing you
I know what you're gonna
side
say.
to side to pick like your skin, the skin program, which is like a 1, 2, or 3.
I loved that.
You still use Clinique, so like you're still with the program. But I
I'm
just
still in the
remember
cult.
that. Like I used to be like we used to play games in department stores because
Yes.
you could like run around the fitting rooms. Like there's always like
kind of a
little
paradise
tags and stuff here
because
and there.
unfortunately the department store had a rug section, so our mom was in the rugs and we were like, this is so boring. And so with the beauty of the department store, we could be like, all right, mom, we're gonna go to the shoes. And then we just be like, and then one thing that Sweetie and I would always look for two main things at a department store. Sweetie and I would look for 1, the Cinderella shoe. Remember? We would always be like, which one is the shoe? And then 2, I feel like we would always be looking for the perfect like princess dress or something, right? Or maybe that was just me. Maybe ours was more the shoe, but like I would always be like, this is the princess dress. So that was a fun
So
game.
fun.
But then the mannequins too.
Yeah, so they had like legit mannequins there. From working at those, also that's really where like the glamour fell off for me once I started working there because it was fucking miserable. You do like days of training on what is like kind of the complicated register. And actually once I got it, I kind of liked doing the register stuff. I thought like that was kind of fun. I did do like some of the clothing store like retail, and then they did move me to linens and towels and like the home section, so that like wasn't as fun. And I would have all these people calling me like asking me questions about towels and sheets. I was like 20 years old and being like, I do not know, but I just took that as an opportunity to like make shit up, and it was really fun because you work there and people like believe you. But then what really turned me off was I tried to do it in college. And there was a Macy's at a mall. So I was like, okay, I've worked at other Macy's. They're like, cool, like, here's a job. And I didn't even do one shift because they were like, okay, we have an opening. We need you to work at the Clarins makeup counter tonight. I'm like, excuse me? I was like, I don't know anything about makeup. And that's something I feel like I wouldn't be able to bullshit versus like thread count and like sheets and towels. I was not like putting makeup on people's faces. Like, I don't fucking know. So I didn't even show up. I don't think like, I was like, bye. Like,
and then she decided to work at Wendy's.
No, this was after Wendy's. So yeah, so it was kind of miserable. You don't make a lot of money, and retail is like such a bitch because it's just like people just wanting to get the best deal on everything. So they're always haggling you, like
always at their most.
There was a
terrible.
function that like you can just override any price and just like put in whatever. So I was a big fan of someone being like, "Oh, I thought that was so and so." I'm like, "Okay, you got it," and I'd be like, "Okay, cool, $10.99 sounds good to me." Like they didn't know, they didn't care.
Well.
It was pretty wild. It was wild west at those places. I'm telling you, like just
still is probably. I've done a fair amount of shopping at department stores recently because I do like the Nordstrom that's by me, and sometimes they have pretty good sales. And sometimes you just, sometimes you just want to wander through all the endless departments and take a look at what kind of shoes are in style these days.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice having it all in one place, and it is.
This
takes me back.
This movie did make me lament a bit the mannequin culture. So, like, when we were growing up, obviously mannequins very front and center of like any clothing store would have a mannequin. Over time, they devolved, let's say, to be like less and less of a mannequin, and now they really have just become like a place to hang clothes, and they like vaguely resemble bodies but not really. Some of them not at all. So I think some stores have just moved to like hangers basically, or like just the forms, like the dress forms.
I can't remember last time I saw one with a head, to be honest.
I know, and that's what I was thinking too, and I was like, it does make sense, because I do find mannequins to be very dated now. Obviously they're not very modern. Also, they're creepy as fuck. Like, they're close to puppets for me. Like, they just have that like weird quality of like I don't know. And like, I think that I would think they were alive, or maybe like you told. I think this is what happened. I think you saw Mannequin. And you were like, so, sweetie, here's the thing that happens at night. The mannequins come alive. And I was like, get out of town. And then, like, we went to the mall, and I was super freaked out the whole time. And I think we were just, like, looking around being like, do you think that one moved? Did that one move? And, like, just being, like, super spooky. So that's probably why I don't like puppets and mannequins, is probably because of that. So, whatever. But anyways, R.I.P. mannequins. You had a good run.
Yeah, you had a good run. I mean, it was a good way to model some clothes, but definitely on
but
their
not
way
very
out
not body inclusive,
no,
not
way too
inclusive of any kind of other body shape,
way
like man or
thin.
woman. It was like thick muscular guy, skinny pencil woman. That was the only two body shapes. So really it doesn't make sense in this climate. So
no, exactly.
Good riddance.
Froze. Oh, so I feel like this also reminded me of that Twilight Zone episode, which I feel like you had me watch that time.
Yes. Well, it's definitely it's influenced from that for sure. It has to be.
Yeah.
But that's a great episode.
In the After Hours, it's called.
Yep, it's called The After Hours. Really good. Look that one up. Love that. And then there's a fantastic Christmas episode of Bob's Burgers, which is very much an homage to Mannequin, where like the plot point is like they find this guy in a storage container who's like, I used to be a mannequin. And they're like, what? And he's like, I do window displays. So he's creating these window displays for them in their restaurant and bringing all these people to the restaurant in crowds. So it's the same concept. But it's one of those things where like now that I watched this, I go back and like, oh, I told that reference makes sense now. So it's fun to have that retroactive look. But yeah, a lot of mannequin content out there. So pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the guy who created this or thought of the story, I mean, he walked by a window and thought he saw the mannequin move, and it was just like a light trick or
probably.
Whatever. So he just made him think of that.
Well,
like, ooh, what if mannequins like came
maybe
to
it
life?
was.
Boom.
Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they are Egyptian people just stuck in these bodies of these mannequins. I mean, what if that's what happened?
Why Egyptians? Why would Egyptians be like, you know where I'm going to send you? To this place called America, where they sell clothes on mannequins. Like, what? Why would the Egyptians do
that? The
that?
love of her life, and she found it in a guy who wears bowling shoes as regular shoes. I don't know if you noticed that, but he wore bowling shoes the entire time.
Oh. It was so interesting when he showed up on a motorcycle, because it didn't seem very like him. No. But then I remembered that iconic image of her on the back of the motorcycle. And so I was like, oh, of course, that's why he has a motor. That's the only reason he's driving a motorcycle.
Right. I mean, it's kind of a piece of shit. It breaks down a lot. And, like, isn't that great?
Because it was raining? You're not supposed to drive your motorcycle in the rain. Yeah, because like on the highway, they're always like stopped under the underpass.
I'm just so shocked when you see people on motorcycles without helmets in like 80s, 70s, and 80s
scary.
Movies, and you're like, ugh. Like, ugh. What are you thinking? What are you crazy? What are you, a death wish?
Yep.
I also, last point for me, the amount of coral lipstick in this, I was just obsessed with. It's not a color you see almost ever, just this certain sheen of coral. Like, not even like, I mean, we do have occasional coral now, but it's like a shimmery shell coral that like almost all the actresses wore, and I was obsessed with it. I was like, yes,
gotta
never
get some of that.
again. Okay, again, you can do it, but it was just very much of that time, and it was just like a shade for everybody.
I'm gonna
and
do
you're
it.
Like,
I'm
is
gonna do
it? Is it a shade for everybody?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing Coral back. Cool. Wow. Who knew we would have so much to talk about mannequins?
Yeah,
about?
I'm so pumped we finally watched
I know.
this, and really just puts me in a good mood. I like that we've done 2 like pretty hot 80s movies, like 2 in a row. Just feel like
Well, I
we're-
got a surprise
we're
for
good.
you.
What?
Following in this theme, I have finally ordered my favorite come to life movie, Life Size, on DVD.
Yay!
So we can watch that soon. Tyra Banks as a
Let's
Barbie.
keep
So
it going.
good times, and then we can talk about Barbies. So it'll be great.
Ooh, Barbies.
You know that I fell down the rabbit hole a couple nights ago, doing Google image searches for 90s Barbies.
Oh, I was gonna say our old Barbies.
And whew, wow, did I come close to purchasing the bath time foam Barbie for myself for the small price of $5. I was like, I gotta do it. I
Wow.
just I could smell that foam, and I was like, I'm gonna do it.
Oh
I
my
might do it.
God.
I don't know.
Did you find my one that had like hair down to her
Yes.
ankles and with
Yes.
crimpy hair? Yeah. What
Yes,
was that one?
Hollywood hair Barbie.
Hollywood hair. Yeah.
Well, there was that one, and then another hair one that was like totally hair Barbie, I think is the one that you're talking about. And then the Hollywood hair one was the one with the spray, the pink spray
One had
of
like
the
smooth
stencils.
hair. One had like crimpy
Yeah.
hair.
Crimpy was totally hair Barbie. Hollywood hair Barbie was the one that you spray the stencil.
Yes, and she had like a
And
white
then-
and gold outfit. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then also they were showing not a Barbie, but remember that doll that had like the jewels on the wand that you
Yep.
like. Yep. So I saw that one. Man, what a good time. So, anyways, Google image search 90s toys, and you'll have a great night. So, that's my recommendation.
Oh, I love that Barbie. $42. $90 eBay.
Mine was
In
cheap,
a
the
box.
foam one.
Wow. Oh yeah.
But I was just like
She
looking
was
at some of
awesome.
I was like zooming in on some of the outfits and just like, having that like sense memory of like, oh, I
What
remember what
about-
that felt like.
I mean, this wasn't mine, but we loved that dress, the ballroom, like the one Liz got for her birthday
we
in that
did.
video.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was that one? It looked like a
I don't know.
ballroom
That was in-
dancing
that was in
dress. It was like so pretty.
That was in the 80s, right?
Yeah,
So you'd
yep.
have to do 80s Barbies and
Okay.
find that one.
I will find that one.
And then I found another one that I remember I had this like ice fairy or like
yeah.
nymph one. Man,
Yep.
that one I just like couldn't. Oh man, I remember that so well. God, I miss it. I love
God.
nostalgia.
The Barbie
We love it.
basket, man, we had some good.
Well,
ones.
anyways, start researching for when we do life size. So, anyways, thanks for staying with us. If you've lasted this long, you can find us on Instagram at Large Martin Sent Us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.
Bye.